what we got here is an algebra problem. If x is 32 over 4, then what is y in condition x plus y equals 4? So let's take a look at what that means. So in the condition, the condition is this equation here. So we'll say x plus y equals 4. And then the other information we have is x equals 32 over 4. So remember long ago when you were learning about how to do equations and variables, what you'll remember is something like this. X equals 5, x plus y equals 10. So then they'll say, what is y? Well, in this situation, we'd say, oh, look, well, I know that x plus y equals 10, and I know x is 5. So then, oh, y must be 5 also, just by your common sense. But the way we do it in algebra is we substitute. We say, if x equals 5, that means x is 5, value-wise. And that also means 5 is the same thing as x, value-wise. And so in algebra, anytime things have the same value, we can equate them as being the exact same thing. So if you think about a normal life, if you got a water bottle and the water bottle costs $2, well, if we were just thinking purely economically, we could say $2 is this water bottle, and this water bottle is $2. When we're thinking about the value of it, they're the same. If I had $2 or I had a water bottle, that would be the same thing value-wise. And that's the same thing here with variables. X is 5, and 5 is x. So that means wherever we see an x, we can just replace it with a 5, and we're correct. And then from here we can see, okay, 5 plus y equals 10. So that's it. All right, so over here it's the same principle. We've got x equals 32 over 4. It's a little more complicated because we've got fractions, but we know x is 32 over 4, and 32 over 4 is x. So we know we can plug this in to replace x. So now we can have 32 over 4 plus y equals 4. If you notice, I wrote it a little differently, but it's the same idea. 32 divided by 4, 32 over 4, these are the same thing, just written a little different way. So now you may have a problem with this part, thinking, okay, well, what do I do with this? Well, anytime we're trying to get a variable by itself, there's different names for what we do here, but I just call it undoing. So we need to just undo what made this thing appear over here, because we always want to get this variable by itself. So we say, okay, 32 over 4. If I want to move the whole fraction over, which is what I want to do, because I just want to get everything away from the y, then I always want to subtract or add depending on what what the value is for this. If it's got a negative sign on it, whatever the sign is. If it's got a negative sign, we need to add it. If it's got a positive sign or no sign, that means it's positive. We need to subtract it. So if we said minus 32 over 4, and you have to excuse me if I'm a little confusing. It's kind of late here. So we subtract it from one side. In algebra, we always have to subtract from the other side because we have to keep things equal. So 32 over 4 minus 32 over 4, we don't have to worry about the math on that. We know that that's always going to be crossed out because 5 minus 5 is 0, 1 minus 1 is 0, a million minus a million is 0, 32 over 4 minus 32 over 4 is 0. So now we have to do this part, which is fractions, and we say 4 minus 32 over 4. Well, how do we do this? We've got to make this 4 into a fraction. Any whole number can become a fraction simply by adding a 1 at the bottom. Why is that? That's because 32 divided by 4 is the same as 32 over 4. Well, so 4 divided by 1, how many times does 1 go into 4? 4 times. So the number 4 is the same as 4 over 1. So we want to subtract this, but when we subtract fractions, we have lowest common denominator. So we have to say, what number can these two both become if we multiplied them by something? Well, this can become 4 pretty easy if we just multiply it by 4. Lowest common denominator rules, we have to multiply the top and the bottom by 4. That's going to give you 16 over 4 minus 32 over 4. So 16 minus 32, if you remember your rules for subtracting something bigger, you're going to have to go down to 0. 16 to 0 is 16 steps. Then 16 more to get to 32. That's negative 16 over 4. Negative 16 over 4 is negative 4, so y would be negative 4. If you need more help, just holler at me.